foot shaft. And you got that part done. Now we go over to our cross pins. The cross pins each get a gear put on each side, and they also get, let me do the other one here real quick. They also each get a washer or shim put on the back side of each gear, like so. Okay, that one's ready. Gotta make sure you don't have two of these stuck together when you're doing this. They're real thin. They come with a little bit of oil on them to keep them from corroding up in the packaging. Now, key to this is first one that goes down and in has to have the flat spot facing up. So line her up, drop her down, get your gears to seat off to the sides, and then a couple of pushes, you can get your shaft in the position that it needs to be with that flat spot facing up. Now your next gear, that flat spot's going to be facing down. Get yourself lined up again, drop that bad boy down in there, flat spot to flat spot. Gear seated all the way. Okay, now this is the center diff. Going off of experience with a friend of mine's Truggy, which is an associated kit that he converted over to electric. He's running the same motor that I'm going to be running in this. He was running 777 for diff fluid. I am going to go with 10 in the center. He was getting a slight ballooning, not too bad on the front, so I think I'm going to go 10.75. So we're going to take and fill this up. This stuff is thick. You know, little plug for my buddy Dustin. Fusion G-Force diff fluid. Some good stuff. As it oozes out of the bottle here. Basically, I like to make sure I get it all over the place. Get it in all the nooks and crannies. I like to go just above the top of the gears. You don't want to fill it to the top, because what will happen is when you drop in the top gear, it'll force it out. A lot of guys, including me, I just like to go just enough fluid over the top of the cross pins. That way when you set in the top gear, it doesn't come rushing out. We're going to go just a little bit more here if I can get it to come out of the bottle. Just enough of this stuff left. It is so thick. There it comes. Okay, finish that off. This cap out of the way here. Okay, we're going to set that there, just balance it, and we'll get our gear together here. This is the spur gear. let's see here, we're going to need an O-ring. I got a little lube on my finger. A little shot of oil here. Oops, I got the wrong one. Not fair. Okay, take that like that. Take our shim. And we need a bearing. Bearing from the outside. Output shaft. And get everything to seat here. Okay. This one's a little easier to get the pin in. Pins in. Bevel gear. And last but not least, gasket. It's gonna get this bugger a little sticky with some oil. Okay, once you get the gasket in there, you can set the gear in and put your 4 3x10 countersunk screws into the spur gear. Tighten her up good and snug. I got this written on here. This is a 62 tooth spur gear, in case anybody's wondering. Same color as the chassis itself. So, alright, we got that done. We can go on to the front and rear diff assemblies. What I did was kind of went ahead and already kind of roughed these in. You'll see it's pretty much the same thing as the center diff, except for, of course, smaller gears. I'm going to go ahead and fill those up with diff fluid. We're going to go we're going to go 7,000 in the front, and we're going to go 5,000 in the rear. To start with, I may need to change this out, you know, in the future, which, of course, everybody, you know, it's kind of a hit or miss at this point. You really don't know what things are going to do. I raced this past weekend with a guy that had an electric truggy, and he was running 777 throughout the whole thing. Little bit of tire expansion on the front of it with that setup, but it seemed really good. We kind of talked about it and thought that maybe if he upped the center to 10 that it would help. So I'm thinking kind of the same thing here, but I want to go with 5 in the rear. I like a little lighter in the rear, so I'm going to fill that one up with 7. And we'll grab the 5 here and fill the other one up. This will be the rear one. Get this stuff to flow out here like molasses. Let that sit for a couple of minutes, and we'll come back and put the gaskets on and screw them back together, and then we can start assembling the front and rear diff assemblies into the housings and basically go on from there. Be back in a few. Okay, to speed things up a little bit, I went and threw together the rear one. I'd like to do, I mark these. This one's got mark 5R, 5 rear. That's the rear diff. I like to mark them so I don't get them mixed up. I have done that in the past. That one's together. We're going to take and do a quick flip on this one. Just like that. Let excess come out. Grab 4 of the 3x10 countersunk screws here.